thank you that I may speak here, and thank you we have the opportunity to give that presentation about the maintenance of hedgerows and shelter belts. We are from the Consultant Engineer Office MR Naturraum. It is an affiliate of the Maschinenring. Our project, as said before, is about the maintenance of shelter belts for adaptation to the climate change for farmers. This project is near at its end. We had it for 3 years now, and it was a great project. Thank you, Evan, for the possibility to do that project. It was an eye-opener for us all. Our main targets were to restore fieldwoods to an optimum state for wind speed reduction, to create a guide for hedgerow maintenance for us, but also for the for the farmers, because it's no easy task to maintain a hedge properly, and to gather some knowledge, we made a survey with farmers about the climate change, about the biodiversity initiatives, partnerships, and what they have on their hearts. We want to do our part with that project. That is the last sheet of my last presentation last year, and now it is the first one just for you to remind about the things. We asked about 11,000 farmers, and 700 of them gave answers to us. Here's some facts. 7 out of 10 believe that climate change is a very great problem and will have a negative impact on agriculture in Lower Austria. 1 of 2, 50%, expect significant losses. Also 50% have taken already action to adapt their farms to climate change, but about 80% of those actions were lone wolf operations, mainly on their own, no partners on the side, and we had to learn that there was a clear overall tendency to avoid official actors, official stakeholders, political and administrative stakeholders. They want to cooperate rather with farmers and agricultural stakeholders. We know, and also the farmers know, that hedges could be and are part of the solution for climate change adaptation because of the buffering functions for the ecosystem services. You all know that already, and also the farmers know that. But to properly maintain their shelter belts and hedges, farmers do not have the knowledge. So we took action in the project. Here are some pictures. In every time of the year, in the summer, we did our examinations and our assessments. We did GPS work and GIS works. In the winter, we were out in the fields and did the practical maintenance. In the autumn, before the maintenance, we marked trees for the forestry cuttings, and so on and so on. There were a lot of work to do because those hedges were in no good condition. These are only some examples. There were many more, but I can't show you all of them. There are big holes in the hedges. The hedges are too narrow. My colleague here, Magister Wallner, marked the ground border. There are missing about 2 meters on this hedge to the official ground border. And so on and so on. Here we have no shrubs in the hedge, so the wind can pass unbraked with no reduction of wind speed, so the hedge has no effect. This is a waste of resources. This is a waste of place. We were glad that our network is functioning very well. So we had 3 sites. One in the Waldviertel, it's Mootsiedel. One in the southern Waldviertel, it's Stratzing, and one in the Weinviertel, it's Parisdorf. Whoa. You can see them here at the map. We had 4 main steps. It's clear. It's assessment, organizing, implementation of the hedge, maintenance, and the evaluation if we did it right or wrong. I want to show you not what we have done in detail, but more what our qualitative learnings were. You see, that was a hedge before, much too dense. Here also, much too dense. The wind rolls over the hedge and comes down at the other side as soon as possible, so there is no wind speed reduction. We have learned that the optimal state of a hedge is when wind can pass it with small holes, but a permeability of about 50 to 60% for the wind. It gives the best wind reduction. Here we see our georeferences. We measured the hedges, the actual borders of the acres with a high precision GPS system, the NR Smart antenna. It's a product of our firm. But we see also precision farming ends on the hedge ground, but the hedge does not respect it. So the farmers have to take action for passing with their machines. Here we take drone photos. We took them together. That are about 15 photos. Here one, here one, here one, here one, here one, and so on. And pictured a stripe. And here are low yield zones around the hedges. Every farmer knows them. That is a communication problem. You don't have very much loss. It's about 10-15 euro per hedge, perhaps 100 when they are really broad. But it is visible, and therefore psychological problematic for hedges and for hedge maintenances. Here some pictures again. We're very proud of those wood cuttings. We did it with wood crackers on a digger. We did it motor manually with saws and manpower, but completely without machines it's not possible, because you have to forward the wood of the field. Here you see that is important. Hedge maintenance does not happen on the ground of the hedge. It happens always, always, always on the ground of the neighbor. So you have to get the access rights for that. And now, here are our most important findings. Hedgerow maintenance is a necessity. The climate change, we talked about that, is threatening the landscape, the land uses, but the buffering function of hedgerow compounds is a valid instrument for climate change adaptation. Soil protection, landscape tourism, image of farmers, but also biomass production and biodiversity. That are very, very important ecosystem functions which can be provided only by a proper management, a proper maintenance of the hedges. Hedgerow maintenance is a complex planning task. That was a painful task to learn for us. It was a good learning for us. We knew we had to plan, but we did not know what we had to plan before we got into communication with the landowners, with the farmers, and with our specialists in the own organization. The most important thing is goal orientation. You cannot maintain a hedge when you do not know what for do you do that, and what have you to do to get your goals. If you want to have a shelter belt with wind speed reduction, you have to maintain it completely other way than when you want to have a fruit hedge and harvest plums or berries. And so on and so on. The development of the shrubs, the development of the trees, and so on. Things you have to plan properly for 5 years, for 10 years, because plants, especially woody plants, react very slow to any changes in their structure. Then, hedgerow maintenance is a financial task. It's all about money, it's all about cash, and when you don't recognize that, nobody will do hedge maintenance. It's very costly if you do it wrong. You don't get any yield if you do it wrong. There is so much biomass production. You have to care of. The efficiency is a problem. If you only want to maintain one hedge, then you have no efficiency. If you want to maintain 50 hedges at a row, you have also no efficiency. It's too big. Now, there is much optimization demand. Then, hedgerow maintenance is a challenging work. The main steps are clearing storage areas, then cut wood, then recover the hem, replanting, and close off the working area and clean up after work. That are main steps. There are 1,000 of detailed steps depending on what you have on your site. What struggles do the personnel have on this site? You need qualified personnel because landscape conservation methods are to learn, and the versatility of machines and motor manual practices are to handle. Then hedgerow maintenance is a field of conflicts. I want you to explain this picture. That is the hedge. That is the acre. That is the wood we cut it out of the hedge. That is the new border and the border as planned. That the natural shrub border. That is the planned ground border. Here is the ground stone, the border stone, and that yellow line is the border where the shrubs have grown into the acre. That is production area for the farmers. That is a conflict because of farmers want to cut them back very badly, and yeah, I think you get the point. Costs versus benefit, the future benefit, all that are unknown. So there is conflict alone in communication. People are not very aware of the risks of hedge maintenance, especially in costs and benefits. To say hedgerow maintenance is a matter of time. The processing period of a complete process of hedge maintenance from the first contact with our customer, the farmer, to the last contact with the terminal use facility is about 3 months to 8 months. Till everyone is fine with everything, till every organization step is set up and proceeded. 3 to 8 months you have to plan with. Then time for the funding application. If I want to have money, I have to ask the authority. Everyone knows about that. That needs time. And the time frame for the hedge maintenance is only in the winter. Especially now that we have the new Öpool 2023, the conditionality says there is a cutting restriction from April to September. No cuttings for any Öpool precipitants, for any field woods and any woods in general. But winter is also very good to cut wood because there is a frozen ground. We have no birds breeding and crops cannot be devastated. Also biodiversity measurements cannot be devastated by heavy machines and the tires. And then hedgerow is a cooperative task. I can't say that enough. A cooperative task for many people. There's so much organizing and communication, I told you before. Larger quantities are better to organize and to process. It's an efficiency task. Coordination with goals of municipalities and tourism would be very great. So the farmer is not the evil lone wolf out there in the fields, sondern is a participant in municipality issues and interests, and also hunting and biodiversity goals with their stakeholders are to include in the process for more understanding, for more awareness, and for more cooperation, also financially. We think a possible construct of such a cooperation is with the farmers in the center. It's very important that the farmers are in the center. You have to communicate with the farmers. It's their land, it's their interest. And then the authority, the personnel service provider as the Maschinenring, external stakeholders and scientific support can support the farmers for their interests and for the commune interests. With that, I want to close my presentation. I'm over the time, I guess. Here is my picture on the right, and my chef Konstantin Greipl, you have him amongst us. Feel free to ask a question. I thank you for your attention.